Today on the Riff, Jeremy and Justin sit down and talk about leadership versus manipulation. What is the difference between the two? And how do you know when you're no longer leading, but manipulating? But most importantly, they get to talk about opening a used car lot together. I can't wait to buy a car now. We hope today is helpful and hopeful. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to another episode of The Riff. We're thrilled that you're listening today. Justin, how are you?
I'm so good. So good.
Anything particular makes you feel that good?
No, it's another rainy day while we record.
Yeah.
So it's like we're recording at night. Like the windows are dark. So it kind of feels, I don't know, it feels different. I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I feel like I'll throw this out there for those who investigate. I think today I'm recording more stuff in one day for general North Point stuff than I have in the last year.
I would agree.
And it's rainy. Mm-hmm. So I'm super concerned about how that's impacted my hair, my general
Can I
skin.
When we came in today, I was going to say something.
Okay.
I just need you to listen. Okay. Just have an open ear. Mm-hmm. Your hair looks great.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. And that's not an empty compliment.
No, I feel weighted.
It's got volume to it.
Yeah.
It's got shape to it.
Well, I've been using both shampoo and conditioner lately, and I think it's made a difference.
I'm in a fierce battle right now with my wife.
Really?
Yeah.
Are we going public with this?
Yeah,
because I think I know where you're going.
She has told me to stop talking about it because I'm obsessing over it.
Let's stop talking about it publicly after this podcast.
Okay, I like that. I'm at the point where I got to shave my head. I'm losing my hair.
You know how long that will take to wash your face from now on, though? Because it goes all the way up. When do you stop? When does it stop being
my face?
Washing your face, and it's a bath in front of everybody, which is odd. Like, is it forehead?
This is why I bring you into these conversations, because I haven't thought of this.
So, man, I wish we had a time lapse on this. Is it like a reverse chia pet?
Well, yeah, I'm thinking about taking a Sharpie and just outlining where my hairline is right now.
You should.
And then just seeing, kind of like what you do with a bug bite, right? If it gets past this, I got to shave.
No, that's a great idea. And honestly, I don't think a lot of guys do that. They make a rash decision.
Yeah. No, this is going to be calculated. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Have you thought of a tattoo line? Not like permanent, like henna. Like a henna tattoo line, because that might be more than a Sharpie.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't. Yeah. I've thought about it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
and the problem is, right now I'm trying. I can't see my hair.
What if you just grew your beard longer? Would that make up for... No, it doesn't go the right direction.
No, it doesn't. That goes, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All I was going to say, though, is if it looks like we're wearing the same stuff, and we are. So if you get any email from me with a video in the next couple weeks, if you get any message intro from me in the next couple weeks, you're like, Jeremy, that's not an outfit anymore. That's a uniform.
Yeah, that is.
You are wearing the same thing. So
favorite shirt, man.
That's all right.
This is his favorite shirt.
Anyway, today we're going to do, if you're listening to this on time and a half as I do, this is going to be a super short.
You're listening to it on time and a half?
I do.
Time and a half right now?
Yeah, time and a half right now is going to be really I bet it sounds like a Chipmunks.
I know it's going to be so fast.
Christmas.
Can you imagine just what happened right now on that?
It's nuts.
We're like, whoa, what's happening? That's crazy.
Leanne, though, doesn't like listening on time and a half.
What does she go for?
She goes for just time.
Just
And there's been a couple times where she thought she was doing it on regular time, but it was like 3/4 time. And I'm like, no. This is, we got places to go, people to see.
Wow.
Right? So if she's in the car and I'm listening to a podcast, it's rough. It's rough because I'm not happy. So we compromise and we listen to it the way she wants to.
Okay,
so, today I want to talk about leadership. We do a lot of talks about leadership stories, which, by the way, we've got a story coming up pretty soon, and I hear the guy's a phenomenal storyteller. So that'll be an upcoming Riff episode. However, today I want to talk about just a leadership principle that can help us, certainly in parenting, certainly at work, and it's probably true in our faith, but we're not the ones leading. And it's a definition of leadership. So now, are you a John Maxwell guy? I know that I'm older than you, and so when I was coming into leadership, he was all the rage in the late 90s.
He was, and I never got into him because I felt like he had 21 laws for everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then it became like, you got a lot of laws, man. If you could just boil that down to a couple, that'd be awesome. But it's like rereading his book every time you read his book. So that's the only thing where I'm like, you just give me just one book. Give me your best stuff. Like The Advantage from Lencioni. That's like all of his best stuff in one space.
Yeah.
That's, yes, I have enjoyed him. I love the things that he says. That's where I'm at with him.
I have a section in my library that are Maxwell books.
Wow.
I would say the same thing. And it's funny to say it because the dude sold more books than I will ever read. Oh. But his books is like 21 different titles for his 21 different books, right? But good stuff. And so he would say leadership. He said leadership is influence. And I remember he would always, often, probably in every one of his books, ask, what is leadership? Or any of his talks, what is leadership? And people would, talk about it. And then he would always boil it down to leadership is influence. And I heard on a reel the other day, I heard someone define leadership in a way I had never heard them define it before. I didn't catch if it was a book. Nothing was referred to a book, so I wish I had something in the show notes to read more about it. But I'm curious on this. And the definition was this: leadership is disappointing people at a pace that they can tolerate.
So good.
So in case Riff listeners, you're writing it down, let me say it slowly. Leadership is disappointing people at a pace that they can tolerate. Meaning, and he talked about it this way. He said, he said, when you're leading, by definition, you're helping someone do something they were not already doing. You're leading them somewhere. And so either it's somewhere they decided they wanted to go or needed to go, but for whatever reason, they haven't gone. And so leadership is disappointing them. Maybe not disappointing them where you're taking them, but disappointing them with how you're taking them or what pace you're taking them. Is because if they would have already liked the idea, they would already be doing that idea. So leadership is disappointment at a pace someone could tolerate. So parenting, right? So today I just want us to think about that thought in a couple different lenses, and that'll be kind of our homework. And as we go throughout the week is just be thinking through leadership in that lens. But so I thought I'd just kind of volleyball serve, or no, it's if you're watching.
You're an underhand?
No, I'm not an underhand.
You just underhanded that.
No, most of our listeners aren't on YouTube. Okay. And for those who are, they would say that I had a twitch. I am a toss it in the air.
It looked like you...
on a regulation Olympic-sized gymnasium because it's 17 feet in the air. And as it comes down, I jump 4 feet into the air, hitting it at the apex of my jump in this knuckleball smash.
It looked as if you didn't even toss as you were motioning this, that you actually underhand hit the ball out of your hand.
The reason why I did that.
Like almost pickleball style.
That is underneath your belly button.
Underneath your belly button.
Now, I'll tell you why I did that. Because when I play volleyball with beginners, I know they can't handle my serve. And so I'm going to volley the ball to them. Okay. Right?
No, that makes sense.
I didn't know how you were prepared for this conversation, and I didn't want to start with my spike.
No.
That thing's a little roasty toasty to handle.
Yeah, no, I get it now.
So I'm just because I don't know how to. I'm volleying the topic.
That's sensitive.
Yeah.
I like that. So, I like that.
Now your wife, Jamie, her name?
Yeah.
She's a volleyball player.
She was.
Currently was.
Yeah.
Was.
Yeah.
Okay. She played some Doesn't volleyball. Like it anymore?
No. She
family get in the way?
Yeah, at the end of college they didn't let her play after.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when she graduated, they said, "Hey, I think you're done here as far as playing."
Oh.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough season for us. Yeah, went through a lot of identity stuff, just who she is not a volleyball player anymore,
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
Rough.
Yeah.
I struggle with the same thing. Not volleyball as much, but it's more singing, different things, but volleyball. Volleying this topic to you.
Okay.
Do you think there are people still listening?
Oh, no way. I
stopped listening. Halfway through my last sentence, I was looking for an exit from that sentence. Okay. So leadership is disappointing people at a pace that they can tolerate. When it comes to parenting, how can that be true? So I'm just throwing that out there.
It's true every day.
How so? Give us a couple of reasons. A couple of ways.
I'm in a season with littles, right? So I've got 10 and 9, and they're upset every day with me, upset every day with Jamie, right? And there's things that I know, like as a parent, you know that you're going to mess some stuff up, right? Jamie and I always say, hopefully what the kids go to for therapy are things that were different for what we went to therapy for. Yeah. And if that's the case, it's a win. Awesome. If they're going to the same thing, maybe we could have done something better, different, right? So we know we're going to mess up. You're going to mess up as a parent. It's going to happen, right? Yeah. But there's a couple things out there that I'm like, I know this is right. I know this is the right call. I 100% know it.
Do they
and you're
agree?
Still upset. They don't agree.
Give me an example.
They don't agree.
Give me an example.
You can't eat no-bake cookies. Listen.
Because I'm not completely
right now. I know, all day long, and that's the only thing you eat for the day.
When you say I can't, does that mean I don't have the ability to?
You can. You can't do it without having a little upset tummy. You can't.
That's true. I've got nothing now.
So then when I say you're going to get an upset stomach, let's stop. Like, no, Dad, no. You don't even know what my tummy does. That's one thing. Which is true.
Just goes medical.
The best expert of Lily's body is Lily.
Have you done an MRI on that?
I have not. But there's just like small things, and I'm joking about that. But there are things that we try to lead those kiddos into that they don't want to, right? And I think the key is, and a question that I have for you on this kind of a definition of leadership, because I would agree with it. It is moving people into a direction like that. It is annoying people, them, right? It's annoying them. How do you differentiate that and manipulation, right? Yeah. Because it can get really gross really fast. And I think you've seen that in a lot of different areas within leadership to where it's not really leadership anymore. This is manipulation and it's gross, right?
Yeah.
So how do you kind of straddle that line? How do you know when it's crossed over into manipulation? How do I know I'm actually manipulating my kid to do this because this is what I want him to do? Or I'm leading my kid to do this because I know that it's better for them and I know it's better for me together to do this, right? How do you, in business, in all of it, how do you do all of it?
Let's start with the illustration of like if we're a car lot and we're selling someone a car.
I like it so far.
Yeah.
Are we suits or are we like casual?
No, we're like professional casual.
Oh,
we're Lululemon.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, Lululemon pants.
Okay. All right.
And probably a Patagonia top.
Okay. Yeah, no. Hats or no hats?
Backwards caps.
Yeah.
But we're so professional from the neck down.
Yes, they don't care.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they come in, let's say you've got I'm trying to paint a picture here for just a visual, okay? So, let's say you've got a 23-year-old single gal comes to your lot with her 8-month-old baby.
Okay.
And she's obviously upset and she needs a car because her car broke down, right?
Okay.
And so you hear the story and you're like, okay, what's going on? And she's frustrated because she doesn't have family around. Let's just make it more complicated. Her father had passed a year before this day. This is the day. So it's very emotional.
Wow.
We're just painting a picture.
Wow.
And father was really good at shopping for cars, but didn't leave any Word documents on how to do that.
Okay.
And so here you got a gal who feels the weight of the world. Her car broke down. She needs a safe car for her child. She's trying to go to school at nights at OTC while she works at Kohl's 43 hours a week, picking up shifts. So you got the picture. Okay. So you got this gal in need, obvious. You're a car lot. You're at a car lot. And she comes in and you know, her desire is to get a car. Your desire is to sell a car. And so it's easy to manipulate. You find out how much money do you have? Okay. What do you need? I could easily listen to that and say, I want to sell this car and I'm not concerned about her safety. I'm not concerned about her budget. I'm not concerned about her life. And I could make her feel like she got what she needed as I get what I need. And that would be a dirty car salesman because of the motive. But a great car salesman would notice someone and say, wow, you've got a backstory right here. You're fighting a battle. You need something right now. I probably have some options for you. What is it that you need? It might not be the most expensive car that I can get out of you. It might not be my choice, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to provide your need here with the options that I have here for you. Now, I might still sell you a car. We both might sell you a car, but one is leadership and a blessing. The other is slimy and just a scumbag. And the difference is their motive. Manipulation is when you don't care about the people you're leading, you care about the person who is leading. That is yourself. Leadership is when you're saying, hey, I know you're going to have to buy a car. You're going to have to spend money. And I know you don't want to. But I want to help you spend it at the pace that you can tolerate. I want you to be able to make the adjustment that you can tolerate, because in the end, it's still best for you. So car lot, it's easy for us to picture slimy car dealers, right?
Not us.
Not us.
With our backwards hats and Lululemon.
No. That we would. I think there's room in the market, right?
100%.
Shout out to those of you North Pointers out there selling cars. Remember the backstory, but it's true also in church. If I'm like, here's what we want. Let's build a big building so that we can have a big attendance. Let's say whatever we need to say in order to get someone to get in a baptism tank, because at the end of the day, I want to be able to say we had X amount of baptisms because I feel better. That's slimy. That's, I need to say whatever I need to say, put pressure on whoever I need to put pressure on so that we have enough volunteers so I don't feel like I'm doing a bad job as a staffer. It's saying, hey, we have this church goal of having X amount of JXP groups, and so I'm going to put someone over their head in leadership, not because it's going to stretch them and help them in their journey and because they're going to be a safe place to lead others, but because I'm going to fulfill my quota that I made to my campus pastor. That's slimy. And we've done that stuff before, right? Like where we're like, we let a goal get ahead of, a goal is a guide, not a God. And so when we got to stop and say,
I am tattooing that.
Henna, right above.
Yeah, right.
Right? So anyway, that's where I'm like, okay, motive is, so when I'm trying to get someone to take a step that I believe is their next right step, and I believe we have the opportunity, I want to stretch you. I want to annoy you. I want to challenge you at a pace that you can tolerate. So what am I trying to get? Am I trying to get my kids to behave better in the grocery store so I look like a better parent? Or am I trying to get my kids to behave better in the grocery store because I want them to be a decent human so that people don't have to plug their ears every time they're around? Okay. And for an example, another one is, I heard a story this week of an autistic child who wasn't able to control their yelling. And so a lot of times in a public setting, they would just yell. As a parent, that would test you. Do you get upset and stressed and yell and shame your kid who doesn't understand, who's overwhelmed? Because now I'm embarrassed. That's bad motive. Or do I say, man, how scary must it be in your world? All these things that are unpredictable, all these sensories coming at you. What's a better way to do this? So again, leadership is about the person you're trying to lead.
I think something too, at least for me, I think I can start with a great motive, but I also think speed is involved. So I've got questions on that, because I think that I get into a trap where I'll have a great motive, but I don't want to trust the process. I mean, we talked about process in the last episode of just this continual piece of learning, right? I think it's the same thing with leadership, to where if I'm moving someone to some space or place that I know is going to be good for them, the overall goal, all of it, right? I want it to happen then. And then if it doesn't happen, that's when I find myself thinking like manipulative ways to do it, because I'm like, no, we got to get it. We got to get it.
Yeah.
Because it didn't happen. It didn't happen the way I thought it would happen. Same thing with my kiddos, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm with my kiddos and I'm like, oh yeah, same thing when we're talking, they might yell a couple times in a grocery store before I like get through to them and they get through to me what they're dealing with, right? It's not just going to be this instantaneous thing. And that's when I become like, I'll give you this candy. Here you go. Yeah. Right? Where it's like, oh, nope, I'm just baiting and switching you, right? So how do you do that? How do you walk through that as a leader, as a dad, as a husband? How do you have patience in the process of that? And how do you keep the motive pure for an extended period of time and you don't lose that?
Okay, when I think as a leader, a lot of times you've arrived at a solution or a next step. You know, this is how I want to chart this course, and now I need to annoy you in this direction as a parent. Okay, we got to understand that's a process. So Leanne and I often will have conversations and time to figure out a solution about something that we need to do, and we don't always do that as a family. Then when we have solved what we want to do, we could come to the kids and say, this is what we're going to do about this, right? And if it impacts them directly, this might be the first time that they're aware that it's even a discussion. And so now we've had this process we feel good about. They've been robbed of a process. Now they've got a command. And we can do that at work too. We're sitting there, we're strategizing, we're thinking about, okay, this is the right way. And here would be a common complaint about my leadership, right? These annoying annual reviews we do, right? Is sometimes it feels like we're getting told what to do instead of a part of the process. And it's always a reminder to me saying, I'm thinking, like, we're not just coming up with things, on the fly, but I have to listen to that and be like, what that feels like on that end is not everybody's going to be at every strategic meeting. But what I need to understand is I feel good about the direction because the process, I need to make sure I'm bringing some form of the process to the person who's tasked with helping implement it, right? That's on me as a leader. And sometimes I skip that and I'm like, just trust me. Just trust the leader. Just do what we say. Well, that's not inspiring leadership. So I think what you have to do is evaluate, does this situation give us the opportunity to allow them to explore a process as well? For example, if it's my kids and we're talking about bedtime rituals, it's not super urgent. Like for me and Leanne to talk about it for a week of what we want to do, and then to say, hey, girls, starting tonight, here's the brand new thing we're going to roll out, right? Because we're irritated with how long it takes to go to bed. This is what we're going to do. It's not like you can't pull that off, but there's what if you said, hey, here's the deal. As a family, let's be thinking about this. What we want to do is when it's bedtime, be able to be a lot more efficient than what we are. This isn't working. So let's all think about it, talk about it, come to the table. What if you took a week to talk about that and let them be part of the problem? It doesn't even change how you're going to land, maybe. You might say, loved your ideas, but here's what we're going to do. But at least they were part of the process. And so, but you have time. And now they can be part of this learn deal. Now, if there's a fire going on upstairs and you come running down, you don't have time to say, hey, here's what I'm thinking, but I don't want to be like, I don't want to rush this. What do you think? So there's times like I'm glad our 911 crews don't sit there and have strategic meetings during the moment. I don't have time to explain, just do what I say. Right. And so as a parent, as an employee, there's times honestly, like at a church, there's times where I'm like, hey, I'm going to make this tweak from Saturday night to Sunday morning. I just got to make this tweak. And I try not to do that every week, like just because I understand it impacts people. But I also want to make sure, hey, it's time sensitive because this is real live this weekend. We just did it. I didn't like the way it landed. Tomorrow, if we made this tweak in a service order or in an element, I know that might be a pain in the neck for somebody, but the result will make a big impact and it's time sensitive. Let's just do it. So, leadership is you want to give people time. At the same time, you really want to get people there. As a leader, be aware of their story, what's going on, what's best for them. So be interested in how it feels for them, but also don't forfeit where we want to land. So holding both of those tightly and then annoy people at a pace they can tolerate whenever you can.
Well, I think being aware of how you process and how you bring people along is important as well.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of introspection. I've done a lot of bad things as a leader, I guess.
That's why I wanted to do
right?
this.
Is this what it was?
I didn't know how to.
I know this is more.
I prefer more passive.
Yeah, no,
aggressive.
I like it. But I'm thinking even with kids, and I think of 3 or 4 different situations here at North Point where we've either come or I've come to a conclusion of what the next step needs to be, and then my thought is I'm going to include this person that they're going to have to go through that. I'm going to include him on the process. But the way that I've done it in ways I don't tell them what the answer is that I've gotten to, and I'm just trying to like get them to the same answer, which is for me, like what? I've done that with my kids too. So I've been very, very thoughtful of, okay, I'm going to I want to be very clear, right? Clear as kind. And I start the conversations, whether it be my kids, whether it be somebody at work now, of like, hey, this is where I am. And this is what was talked about. And this is the conclusion I reached. I want to walk through a process to see if you actually even get there or you go somewhere else, right? Like I want to throw all my cards on the table and not have like some hidden, like, I hope you get there too. And then when you get to the mountaintop, you will see that I was already there.
Yes.
Right? Like, and I feel like I do that with my kids all the time. And I'm just like, just tell them what you're thinking. Hey, I'm thinking this for bedtime. Yeah. Walk me through, like, what do you think? What are you thinking, right? And not just, what if we did this? What if I nudge this? What if I move this, manipulate this? And you've done it, we're here, yes. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. Right. And I've thought for a long time, like years past, that's a way to parent, that's a way to lead. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be that like suave. Like, I'm just like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I think. These are the things I see. Let's walk through it together now. I've already walked through it a couple times, but I need your input. I do. And that's the truth, right? It's not like the 3 part of me in the Enneagram that's like trying to, I think like they're going to walk out of the room and be like, Justin is brilliant. He knew the answer before I did. Like,
Dad done did it again.
So I think that's important too, of trying to figure out what that process looks like for you. And even in the process, it can be manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's the two things here, and we can land it with this. But if I'm thinking what's best for me, and I don't care what's best for you as a leader, that's manipulation.
Yeah.
Okay. But but here's the challenge that I need to wrap my brain around as well is if I do think about you first, and I think about what's best for you, but I do it in a silo and don't take the time for a process, even though it's not manipulation, it feels like manipulation. And now all of a sudden I'm trying to lead people who don't trust me. And so as a leader, maybe you've got great motives, and maybe your next step is to say, hey, how can I extend a process when possible and include more people in the process and in that conversation, or include some more time so it feels a little bit more. There's times where that's not there. And then maybe for you, you're like, your real next step is saying, man, I got to think about the people I'm leading, not just the objectives. And so there's been seasons I could think of in the last year where both of those have been needed to be adjusted on my end. But anyway, hope that helps. Hope that helps at home. Hope that helps in our places of work. And in what's interesting in our faith journey, we're not the leader, we're the follower. And God is a good God, and so hopefully that we can trust that He's for us, He's with us, and He wants to lead us. And it's going to cause some uncomfortable next steps, but He's going to do it in a way we can endure.
What's cool about this episode is, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, I thought that you and I should probably open a car lot together.
Yeah,
and I've just been dropping hints. And today you're walking away.
This is good.
And I was already there.
It's going to be called Baldy's Car Lot because I think we all know where this is going with the... All right, tune in next week maybe on YouTube and see if we've got an update to Justin's henna science experiment. All right, have a great week. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Riff. We'll have a brand new episode every week, wherever you find podcasts.